And welcome back, folks, to Ace Pilot Mode. Today, we get to take a look into the world of the man, the legend, Johnny fucking Raiden. Well, in reality, we get to watch Johnny try to get out of the shadow of his big brother, Char Aznable. Let's watch. As it takes its sweet time loading.
Universal Century 0079, January 13th. After the failure of Operation British, Zeon launches a campaign against Side 5 with the express purpose of capturing a new colony. This will later be known as the Battle of Loom. The young and as yet unknown officer Johnny Raiden sees action in this battle.
Alright, we get to play as Johnny Raiden, aka the Crimson Lightning here. We've done this battle before. It's going to be the same as we did for the Black well, kind of for the Black Tri-Stars, and more specifically Char Aznable. You're going to see that theme along the way as we go. Unfortunately, we get stuck with the original Zaku 2 F-Type with a Zaku 2 bazooka. It's not that great, but then again, we're going to be fighting nothing but Saberfish and the occasional public unit towards fighters, and nothing but Salamis and Magellan cruisers. There's really nothing that can take us out here. Now, let's see. There's nothing real special about this mission. We just got to destroy a couple of cruisers and try and take out as many fighters as we can. There is one special little mention here, and it'll show up here over the course of this first mission, and I'll point out when it does.
A huge fleet. I guess this is my chance to make a name for myself.
Yeah, Johnny is kind of obsessed with trying to get a name for himself, and he gets a little mad over it sometimes, to say the least. But we'll look at that. Johnny's kind of an okay character. He's one of those just all-around kind of there guys. He's all right, I suppose. I've barely never followed him a whole lot here. Some of the models and stuff he has aren't too bad, but I absolutely love some of the mobile suits he gets to play as or pilot during this mission mode. Now, for this mission, for S rank, we need around 130-something thousand points. So, roughly 100,000 points or so, plus your 35,000 for not retrying, you should be okay. Now, you can concentrate a lot more on the fighters than I'm doing here, as before, because these little Salamis take their sweet time chugging across the do not return line. I think it's like somewhere close to 3 minutes it'll take for them once they appear on the battlefield. So feel free to take out a bunch of these Saberfish. They're not worth a whole hell of a lot, so you're going to have to stack them like crazy. You're looking at roughly 1,000 points or so per fighter, so it's not a hell of a lot. And we need close to 100,000, so you're going to have to stack that like crazy. If you can manage to take some more of the turrets out, more on you, and this should be good. And here comes our special mention, the asshole he is, Bernard Mancha. I hate this guy. I hated him. He came in from 0083 Stardust Memories. He can be kind of a prick, to be honest, but he's all right, I suppose. He'll try and take you on with an FFS3 Saberfish. He's not that good with it, but he has a hell of a lot of armor. So take him out when you can, get him down to about 10% health, and he should retreat just like the other special mentions that show up. But do not forget about your primary mission in taking out the cruisers before they go across the line.
There you are.
Yeah, see, he has a lot of armor. I don't even know if I actually got him with that knuckle cracker. Nope, not even close.
You're too slow.
Now, he does love to destroy your missiles, so keep that in mind. There he goes. He'll go screw off for a while now. I'm getting kind of tired of piloting the Zaku 2. It's just, it's not that good. The thrust gauge is really bad, and even against these Saberfish, it's kind of inadequate for it. It needs a better sub-weapon. Vulcans would have been perfect just to waste on these Saberfish, instead of having to wait for your main weapon to reload. Then again, I suppose it's not so bad. It's not like I have to dodge the Gundam or anything. Alright, also, I'm not doing it here as much, but make sure you do hit their corpses for additional points. Every little bit counts here. I can't remember, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I did not even get close to it. Oh yeah, maybe 80,000 or so. It's probably going to be a D rank, I can't remember. I recorded this about 2 days ago, and I'm just not having a chance to get to it.
Johnny Raiden, recently promoted to lieutenant as a direct result of his tremendous combat successes. Furthermore, as a tribute to his great skill, his mobile suit will be painted red, his personal color. From this point on, he'll know widespread fame as the ace pilot, Crimson Lightning.
The only problem with that widespread fame is that he keeps getting mistaken for the Red Comet and not the Crimson Lightning.
Over, and the war is at a stalemate. With the Principality of Zeon firmly in control of most of space, The Federation is reduced to hit-and-run tactics. Johnny Raiden heads for what was once Side 2 airspace. His mission? Attack the Federation's industrial colony.
You know, for the most part, Johnny actually gets quite a bit done. He's not much for grandstanding, although he kind of appeared to be when you fought him in white base mode. But he tends to go right for the enemy when he can. Now, again, we're going to be piloting the Zaku 2 Custom here. It's slightly faster than the original Zaku 2, but not by much, so don't expect a huge benefit here. This mission's, again, kind of a straightforward one. We really can't, as far as I know, lose this one with the Solomus going over the line there. As always, we get treated to our little launch scene here, although it's kind of dark. I can't get this to brighten up in a way I prefer.
Johnny Raiden here. I'm taking off.
And his helmet is probably the least obnoxious. At least he just painted on the antlers instead of actually attaching them.
Forces guarding that industrial colony space gate.
Roger.
A red Zaku?
All right.
Johnny
Yep.
Raiden.
They're gonna
Lightning that flash.
they're gonna constantly mistake him for the Red Comet, and it's hilarious because he actually gets really mad about it.
I'm hit.
I see here. So with this right now, we just have a standard Zaku Bazooka to use with, and there's about 3-minute time limit that we get to start with the at the beginning of the mission. This is our entire mission timeline. We go over this, it should be mission failure for it. Now, be quick about how you do this. You're going to have 2 Solomus at the beginning of this and a crap ton of Saberfish. And I think they actually always launch in squads of 4, so it looks like it on screen here. So feel free to take out these as much as you can. You're going to have a Zaku 2 friendly pilot try and help you out. He's armed with a Zaku 2 machine gun. Don't bother with it. You don't need it. There's nothing that can take you out here. There's actually quite a number of them that we actually have to take them out.
Roger.
Now,
You're not getting away.
this enemy transport that I'm talking about is actually a Columbus-style ship. We've not really seen much of them in this Let's Play, but we'll see quite a bit of them later on down the line. It's also going to be escorted by a couple of Solomus. I think it's 2 or 4, one of the 2. I can never remember. Anyways, the Columbus should start up just after your ally comes around, so about 45 seconds into the mission or so.
This should do the trick.
A lot of these Xeon Ace pilot missions where they start off at the beginning, there's really not much that can kill you. The only problem is that you can't do a whole lot of damage in order to get a lot of points in the same respect. So getting an S rank on these missions is going to be kind of tough. Matter of fact, I used to have a lot of trouble with this one and Shars at the beginning, just because it would be so tedious. Oh, I'm going to take all your supplies, dude. And that would be the Columbus, the tugboat it is. It has no weapons to speak of. However, we can't take it apart like the Pazak, so don't think you can. Once you've taken out all of them, we should have about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, I think, before the mission will end, or before we destroy about, I don't know, 40-something Saberfish in the way of it all.
This'll do it.
Or it could be that we got to take out the Solomus. I can't remember.
Mission completed. Return to ship.
The thing I like about the Solomus is that when they explode, they're so pretty. What with their pink glittery smoke.
We're getting nothing but minor skirmishes these days, and I find them dead boring.
There's a rumor going around that the Feddies have developed their first mobile suit.
Oh, really? Now that would make life interesting.
I don't think that would be a good thing for us. Yeah, but Xeon is developing new mobile suits too. That's true.
But there's been no response to our request for high mobility Zakus. Eventually, it will be too hard for us in these old F-type models.
I can never really tell if Johnny's color scheme there is a little bit darker red
After his
than
successes,
Shars.
Johnny Raiden is promoted to Lieutenant Commander and receives the latest model unit, a high-mobility type Zaku 2 R2. He is also made the leader of the mobile suit combat teams of the patrol fleet, the Primus Corps. Universal Century 0079, December. Despite the great efforts of Johnny Raiden and many others, the Xeon forces are forced to fall back. Ominously, enemy scout ships have been seen in the vicinity of Solomon and Granada. The rumor that the Federation will commence a major operation in space is creeping toward reality. Primus Corps received word that a detached Federation force is gathering at Texas Colony. Their goal is to eradicate this force.
All right, well, you heard the announcer. We get a little bit of an upgrade here with our Zaku. It's going to be an R-2 type or a high mobility improvised type, armed with a giant bazooka. Decent little unit, not the best that he gets to use out of his repertoire, but it's not bad at all. This mission is going to be kind of straightforward. We get to destroy the hell out of a lot of stuff, but it's always good for a laugh because we get to see another side of dear old Johnny's personality. Little close quarters here for this launching bay, what with the fact that we've got a Dom below us.
Johnny Raiden here. I'm taking off.
Hell, by the end of the war, they'd been better off taking all the Zocs they never used on Earth and just loading them up with explosive and launch them out of the catapult.
I'll show you what the Crimson Lightning can do.
Alright, so we got quite a bit more thrust to work with here, and our giant bazooka's a little more deadly. So we'll make use of it. Now, this is a part that I kind of like, is that it actually changes music right there.
Remember that.
It changes over to a set of music pieces called the Galliot Shard,
It's that one.
which is when that ship's captain thinks that Crimson Lightning here is the Red Comet. He gets actually really irate about this. I don't know, I just find it amusing. Anyways, for the most part, we're not going to have much to deal with except for some occasional fighters. The Columbus here, who can't really get away from us if it tried, because it's a whale. But now we get to fight a new type of enemy, the Gym. And boy, aren't they fun. They're actually going to put up a kind of a decent fight in terms of armor.
Can you take me on? There you are.
There's going to be a lot of them, so have fun, since we haven't been fighting anything but Saberfish and public units since this point. Sad to say, I was actually happy to see the Gym when it finally showed up. Now, unfortunately, we won't see anything else besides the Gym for a little while. We might see the ball come out of nowhere, the RB-79, but most of the time it's just going to be squads of 3 Gyms, so take them out. There should be about 12 in total that we have to take out before the mission ends. Make liberal use of your spam button because that giant bazooka hurts like a motherfucker. It also is really good for getting your shields taken out, which is an additional, I think, 1,000 points per shield that we managed to pop, so definitely take advantage of it. We need to get around, let's see, this is mission 3, I think it's 100,000 something points? I don't know. Somewhere close to 100,000. If you manage to get up to about 70,000 points just through the mission itself and don't die, you should make that mark, just no problem.
Go down and play.
They're not too coordinated despite the fact that they're teaming up on you.
All hands retreat! We're outmatched!
And there they go.
Maybe now you'll remember the name Crimson Lightning.
To be fair, Johnny, it's your own damn fault for picking the color scheme.
The Crimson Lightning, the Principality of Zeon's ace pilot Johnny Raiden, has annihilated yet another enemy fleet. The Lieutenant Commander shot down the enemy's mobile suits seemingly at will.
You're quite popular among our people, aren't you? I, too, am proud of you.
Creepy.
It's all quite embarrassing. We're getting pushed back by the Federation forces, aren't we?
It's likely the Federation will attack Solomon, but we can't ignore the possible danger to Granada as well. Therefore, my mobile assault force will remain here to protect Granada.
I don't understand why you called me here, ma'am.
At the request of the Zeon homeland, you have been appointed command of the Ace Pilot Corps, as well as being given the responsibility of testing a new model mobile suit. I am confident that you shall meet and exceed our expectations, Crimson Lightning.
Ma'am, the Ace Pilot Corps.
You know, I'd be a little creeped out if Cecilia Zabi was kind of hitting on me like that, and yeah, because I can only imagine how bad she looks under that mask. Why else would she wear it?
Training sessions with the high-mobility Gelgoogs at the nearby Corregidor Shoal Zone. The newly formed Ace Unit Chimera leads the training. Lieutenant Commander Johnny Raiden, the first commander of the elite unit, also participates. The Chimera Corps and the new mobile suits being rushed into production are the last hope of the Zeon forces.
Oh man, we get to launch with one of my favorite mobile suits in this game, the MS-14B JR for Johnny Raiden Gelgoog High Mobility type with a custom beam rifle. This sucker is great. Love this mobile suit. It is freaking fantastic. There's actually only a few different mobile suits on the Xeon side that I love beyond this one here. This is actually kind of an interesting mission, and it's probably my favorite out of the stages for Johnny Raiden here. This is the 4th stage, so we kind of get to play around a little bit with it. We also only have to get a very, very minimal score.
Johnny Raiden here. I'm taking off.
Essentially, all we have to do is maintain a body temperature roughly in the high 90s and get about 35,000 points or so. So basically, don't die.
First, we will test your mobility and firepower. Destroy the meteoroid missiles and the marked meteoroids in the allotted time.
Roger.
Don't forget to destroy all of the meteoroids.
Now, that sounds kind of easy. However, they're kind of a pain in the ass to lock onto, so don't think that just because you can see them that you'll actually be able to lock onto them all the time. And they can take about 1 to 2 shots, depending on how close you are with them. I think it does more damage for some reason. You also have to fly in between a bunch of other asteroids, which continuously fucks up your sensors. And they also like to zoom in and out with varying breakneck speeds, and it makes it difficult to actually hit them all. I'm not aware if you can actually hurt yourself by running into them. I'm assuming you can, because from stationary objects you can do the same thing. But you don't have to worry about thrust or lack thereof with this baby. Man, it can... Oh man, this is a great mobile suit. Fan-friggin-tastic. If Char had had one of these instead of the standard Gelgoog, the Gundam would have had no chance. And maybe Lala would have still been alive for a change. But anyways, who cares about the red comet? We're talking about the Crimson Lightning. Yeah, I know, that's kind of... Yeah, who cares about the Crimson Lightning, honestly? Come on. It's just Johnny Raiden. I mean, it couldn't be a disappointment like the other Raiden character. Looking at you, Kojima. So, for the most part, just make sure you take out all of these asteroids before the time limit goes out, and you'll be okay.
We'll have you go up against 3 Rick Doms. According to the simulations, you should be equally matched, so good luck.
Okay, okay.
And now we come to my favorite part of this mission. We get to actually duel with 3 separate Rick Doms. And they are tough. They are basically the Black Tri-Stars
You're the ones
tough.
in trouble. You're up against the Crimson Lightning in a new Gelgoog.
The only problem for them is that they don't have enough thrust and you can fly circles around them. Make sure to use your spam tech and you'll be okay for it, but they love to swirl around. Concentrate on 1 or 2 of them, bringing them in for close combat, because they have a hell of a lot of armor, but not a lot of reflex points here. Make sure to also use your dodge boost in order to get away from them. However, you can still max out your boost gauge if you're not careful using a dodge roll, so use it sparingly and you'll be okay. Because if you don't, like I do here, you'll actually max it out and you'll be kind of a giant sitting target. And you also won't have a shield to speak of, so don't think that you're invincible for any split second. Now, the special attack is just like any other Gelgoog. You're just going to do 1 standard shot that should do a crap ton of damage instead. You have quite a bit of armor as well, so don't worry about getting shredded as if you were flying around a mobile suit made of paper mache. That's for the grunts later on. Taking them each unit down to about 20% health, and you should make them flee from the battle and only have to deal with the remaining enemies, so it's not too shabby for it. These guys are actually fairly competent in what they do.
Really pretty good. There you are.
And it makes it more difficult because you can't really see the shots too well against the backdrop of space there, so... Sometimes I run straight into these shots, sometimes I don't. But they're doomed. And we don't have to worry about our health meter keeping up, because this is the last portion of this stage anyways.
You've got your data, and I think I've had enough.
As you can see, I didn't get much of a score, but thankfully we only need like 35,000 points, so we should be able to... Ooh, that's an interesting glitch. Is he trying to run straight into it?
Good work, sir. How'd you like the new Gelgoog?
It's not bad. No problems.
Good to hear, sir.
Sounds like a 13-year-old.
But you don't look all that pleased.
Well, I really don't think one new mobile suit is going to change the course of this war.
I don't know about that.
Then again, I guess that makes sense.
Mr. I can do everything by myself.
Though I don't know how long I'll last. The real reason I fight is for my honor.
To be fair, at the end of the war, they were just basically taking every raw cadet out of the Xeon Military Academy and putting a gun in their hand to go fight the enemy, which had fantastic results.
and the Federation fleet is now approaching Abawa Ku. Zeon's last line of defense, the Chimera Corps, waits for battle at Enfield, where the Federation's advance units are gathering. Johnny Ryden's last and greatest battle is about to begin.
All right, so it's the final showdown. I'm actually surprised that they didn't go into more of the two guys you saw there in the last little cutscene. You don't really learn a whole hell of a lot about them. Matter of fact, I don't remember a whole lot about them. Johnny has a little bit of other information where he appears here and there, but not a lot. For the most part, we're just in charge of a bunch of young kids. Most of the ace pilots are dead or serving on other lines or trapped on Earth. Take your pick. Now, this is the last mission, so you've made it this far, you're okay. And this is the most awkward little animation where it walks on this little platform. Because it just doesn't look like it lines up well to me. I don't know why.
Johnny Ryden here. I'm taking off.
It's cool to see another launch animation, don't get me wrong. But it just looks really awkward.
Don't let your guard down. Show them the power of the Gelgu.
Alright, so now we actually get to do the real test for the high mobility Gelgu here. And it will be more than a match for a lot of this stuff. For the most part, we're going to be fighting a lot of the RB-79 ball type units more than anything else. Oh, you might as well just type it all over, or paint it all over your mobile suit. They're lucky to see that more than they're here and paying attention to you. Now, much to the operator's charge, and if you let the units go by, as far as I know, isn't too much of repercussion. I think it has to be like 6 or so units that have to escape. Cruisers, that is, not just 1 or 2. So you should be fine if you let 1 or 2 slip by. Now, a unit that we actually haven't seen before and probably just caught a glimpse of is the RGM-79GS GM Command. They're armed with beam spray guns, so they're not much of a threat, but they can be very fast. Now, on occasion, you're also going to see the RGM-79SP or Gem Sniper 2, and they're going to be armed with a sniper rifle, which can actually do a lot more damage to you. There's going to be a couple of publics that'll periodically fly through as well, so don't worry too much about them. All they are there really there for is to screw up your targeting sensor. Now, try to remember that guy's name off the top of my head. What was it? No, I think it was Hughes or something like that. Anyways, Hughes there, we'll call him Hughes. Hughes will show up after destroy 10 or 20 enemies or so, and you'll actually have to take him on. He'll be in a GM command. You actually get to destroy his unit other than let him fly off, so. He's pretty difficult to take down. He has a lot of armor and he can do quite a bit of damage, but he's not too good at melee, so make sure you use that. Now, we only have to get through 12 or so aircraft, so about 4 rounds or so, and we should be done with this mission. Not aircraft, cruisers, that's what I'm talking about.
Keep concentrating on the enemy in front of you.
The target is passing through the battlefield. Hurry up!
Man, this would have been a hell of a battle.
I'm coming in as backup.
Now, the reason your support will show up in the little event that'll make him show up in case you do need help is when your health gets below 50% or so, then he'll chime in to do something here.
The target is passing through the battlefield. Hurry up!
Take it if you want. I can't remember what he shows up with because I don't think I've actually ever used him on this mission. I think it's just a Gelgu, just a 14 Model A.
The target is passing through the battlefield. Hurry up!
The operator gets really annoying, and we get to hear a lot more of her too when we go into some of the other modes later on down the line. The high mobility unit is a fantastic little thing to take into battle here because there's nothing that can really match it on this combat field. They're not even bothering to leave corpses at this point for you to shoot. They just explode into a massive ball of pink fury and fire. The music's kind of good too. It's like that ominous feeling of a battle that's just, well, the end battle to end battles. Yeah, slave driver. Should be getting close here to the end of that 12th mobile, or 12th battleship. Haven't even been bothered to count. The Magellan probably is what's going to take the most hits to take down. Use your special a lot and it'll take it right out. Now, in terms of points, in order to get an S rank, we need about 200,000 or so. I used to know a lot of these scores, what we actually required, but now it's just rough calculations. I can hardly remember. Some missions I have a lot of trouble with, some I don't.
Chimera is no response. I guess there's nothing left for me to go back to.
Yeah, that's right. His carrier's gone, and most of his other unit friends are dead as well. Oh well.
Johnny Raiden did not return from the last battle of Abawaku. It was recorded and verified by witnesses that the Crimson Lightning shot down 185 enemy craft in that last great struggle.
There's actually some debate about that. Supposedly that 185 is actually his entire kill count for the whole 1-year war, so I'm not too certain if that's accurate for the last. If he did shoot down that amount, that's cool. But anyways, when we come back, we'll start with the next ace pilot, Shin Matsunaga. Until then, folks, see you later.